If you're looking at buying a wireless gaming headset without breaking the bank, then here we have the Exa E910s. This is a wireless headset that will support PC, Mac, PS4, PS5, Xbox and Nintendo Switch, all whilst costing under $100. So are they any good? Welcome to my tech gear. Let's find out. So straight out of the box we have this really nice pouch. It's a lovely leatherette material and it's really thick. So that's really going to help it give it great protection if you want to store it in your bag and take it with you on the go. And in the pouch itself we have the headset, and I'll go into the details of the design and fit of this in a minute. Other than the headset, we also have a USB-C charging cable, and it is great to see USB-C on what is essentially a budget pair of wireless headphones. It also comes with a 3.5mm cable, but that's not used for what you think it might be. I'll get to that later. And we've got a USB wireless transmitter which plugs into your PC or whichever device to transmit the audio and video to your headset. Looking at the designs of the headset itself, and it is a really good build quality. There is a metal band that goes from the earpad brackets all the way through the headset to the other side. This means that it is super strong and it is massively flexible. You can really bend these from almost dead straight all the way out. You can twist them. It doesn't make any difference. They snap right back. Super sturdy, super durable. The earpads themselves are made of this super soft leatherette material which makes them really comfortable on your ears. Combine that with the really deep memory foam here as well, and that just makes them super comfortable on the ears for long gaming sessions. And the padding continues through to the headband itself, where you have this nice thick layer of foam at the top to help it cushion against your head. Our left earpad is where all of the controls sit, so we've got our volume wheel here, we've got our mute button, and we have our on-off switch, and we've got the USB-C charging port down there as well. The retractable mic on the left earpad obviously retracts and comes out as well. That's a really nice touch for keeping the mic out the way when you don't need it. And let's not forget the RGB, so when you turn these on, you will get a red symbol on each ear. Now you can't turn it off, but I don't think it's over the top, and I actually think it's been done quite well. Fit-wise, these are really easy to put on, with it being really easy to work out which ear cup goes on which ear. The thick memory foam on those earpads also make these super comfortable to wear when you put them on. The headband itself is nice and easily adjustable, and it will fit a wide range of head sizes. The weight of these is 305 grams, so that doesn't make them the heaviest, but it doesn't make them the lightest either. It's about the same weight as the HyperX Cloud 2 wireless headsets for comparison. Now there's not much clamping force on these, so that's the tightness when you actually put them on your head. So some people have complained about them being loose. But to be honest, I don't want a tight clamping force. What I want is comfort, and that's something that these have in spades. Let's face it, the most important aspect of a headset is the sound. And out of the box, these definitely have a bass bias, gamer-centric focus. So when you play them in games, you can definitely hear the bass front and center. However, you can still clearly hear footsteps as well. So it is a headset that is best for gaming, unsurprisingly so, and probably not so much for music and dialogue. Fortunately, you can change the sound profile of these using the equalizer in the headset app. Unfortunately, that only works for PC and it won't work with other devices. That is pretty common with headsets that claim they support multiple devices though. The PC has equalizer presets for both stereo music and 7.1 surround sound, so you can switch your sound profile whether you're listening to rock or jazz or blasting something to hell in your favorite FPS or MOBA games. You can also fully customize the equalizer with your own custom presets. You also have ENC, or environmental noise cancelling, available in the app as well. Now this is a feature that you often only see in more expensive headsets. That allows you to cut out your background noise when you're chatting on your mic. I'm going to do a sample of that in a minute when we go do a mic test. So the sound, once tweaked, is good, but the surround sound modes, not so much. I could make out left and right and center, but I couldn't really make out like front left and back left to sort of distinguish between that. To be honest though, I don't really rate many virtual surround sound systems, because essentially you only have 2 speakers and you are trying to replicate 7 sound sources using those 2, and I don't find they work particularly well. So surround sound modes excluded, I have happily been killing zombies in Back 4 Blood for hours using this headset, and the sound has been great, pleasant, full, easy to listen to. I've actually really enjoyed playing with these. So now we're doing a mic test. So this is with the environmental noise control turned off. So this is basically what it sounds like without any post-processing. Out of the box, I think it sounds quite good, especially for a pair of headset that really doesn't cost that much. However, I will say when you start pressing keys, you can probably hear the keys in the background, although it still does a pretty good job of making sure that my voice is heard over the top of the keys. So now with ENC turned on, if I type the keys here, you can't really hear the keys in the background, but the quality of my voice takes a significant hit to give you that feature. It's not the best in the market, but then it's also not the most expensive headset. So again, having this feature on a headset that costs $90 it's actually pretty good. So for battery, it is great to see a USB-C charging port here for the charging, and it will charge the full in about 2 hours. However, it will only give you about 10 hours of battery life. And in real world scenarios, you actually only get about 8 hours if you're listening to it at a pretty loud volume, which, let's face it, most gamers do. So it's definitely not the best, and it is probably the weakest component of this headset. If you compare that to Microsoft's Xbox wireless headset, for instance, which is roughly the same price, although very focused at the Xbox, that gives you roughly twice the battery life that these do. So the headset is touted as being compatible with a lot of different devices, and it does this through the USB dongle that I've got here. However, your ability to connect to lots of different devices is going to be variable, and let's get into why. So it does say that it's compatible with your PC, Mac, PS4, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and your TV. But in reality, it is only kind of natively supporting the PC, the PS4, and the PS5. To support things like the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox, it actually relies on your TV supporting the US dongle for both audio and mic. And that's not common. So I tried it with 3 different TVs. I've got a Sony, a TCL, and an LG. The Sony is actually just under a year old, so I thought it would have worked, but it just wouldn't. I could plug it into the USB port and it would recognize the headphones. It said the headphones were connected, but I could get absolutely no audio. The other TVs, it didn't work with at all. So if you do need it for those scenarios, then I would absolutely say check the manual on your TV first to make sure it absolutely will work. Now the dongle itself probably is a little bit on the big side. However, that 5.8 gigahertz frequency that it operates at gives you no perceivable latency in games, so it is great for a gaming headset. So that 3.5mm cable that I was talking about isn't used for what you'd think. Now you'd think it would be used for just plugging into a 3.5mm jack on your headphones and connected it into your mobile phone. However, there's no 3.5mm jack on here, so you can't do that. What it's supposed to be used for is actually taking the dongle. There's a little 3.5mm jack on the dongle here. Now you plug it into that, and then plug that into the 3.5mm jack of whatever device you're trying to connect to. It is the most bizarre setup, and I don't know too many people that would do it that way, but it's an option there if you want it. What you can actually do though, is you can actually use that functionality to actually get around the fact that it's probably not going to be compatible with many TVs. So if your TV has a USB cable or a USB port, and even if it doesn't, you can just plug it straight into a power supply if you've got a USB plug. Plug that into your TV or the plug, and then plug the 3.5mm cable into this and into the headphone socket of your TV. You should then be able to get audio from your TV to your headset. Now it does mean that the mic's not going to work, but if you just want to watch it or use it for TV, it at least gives you a workaround. So at the end of the day, should you buy it? Well, for $90, it's a wireless gaming headset that supports PC, Mac, PS4, PS5, and potentially Nintendo Switch and Xbox depending on your TV. And it comes with a 2-year warranty, so it certainly has a lot going for it. The battery life could be better, and there are some quirks with its connections that I've just kind of gone through, but it's really well built, it's super comfortable to wear, and it has good sound, although the best sound is reserved for PC because of the software app that I mentioned before. If you are looking for a truly wireless headset for your PC, your PS4, or your PS5, then the Exa E910 is certainly a headset that's worth considering. I'll place the link to it in the description down below for you. If, however, you want a truly wireless headset experience for your Xbox, then I thoroughly recommend checking out Microsoft's own Xbox wireless headset. That is a great, truly wireless headset for roughly the same price. I've reviewed it up here, so be sure to go and check that out. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and share it. Consider subscribing if you're not. And as always, see you in the next one.